If you're ready to take the plunge into letting your students see your face for video lessons, here are some tips for you. Hi everybody, welcome to Talk and Chalk. I'm Beck. I've had this channel for a couple of years now and I've had a ton more subscriptions now that we are moving into remote learning while we currently deal with the COVID-19 crisis. If you're watching this, I hope you're well and safe and your family and friends are also well and safe. And I'm hoping this video will support you into moving into some sort of online sharing platform with your kids. Even if they are doing a combination of paper, online, you may want to create some videos for your kids. So you might be deciding to put these into an online platform like Google, or if you're creating a school YouTube channel or the school Facebook page or something like that, or even if you're sharing it on a USB stick. So maybe your kids are coming in on a fortnightly rotation, picking up resources and activities and a USB stick of your beautiful face and lessons that they can see. Now, you obviously don't need to show your face all the time. That's not always necessary. Sometimes it could be your hands with resources playing games. If you haven't seen my kids' channel, Clever Pickles, that's pretty much what I did for a lot of those videos. I would have piles of books stacked up and my phone or a device sitting on top of it, and then my hands underneath showing them how to play the maths game. That's absolutely doable. Today's video though is going to be just a few tips, I guess, to help you get into the process of filming yourself and feeling confident to do that. So I've lost my trusty notebook, so I have a bit of paper with a couple of my notes on it, but we'll go through it in those steps. So the first one is devices. So you need to obviously pick a device that will be easiest for you to film with. It could literally be you holding your phone, whereas my phone here this way. You may have a tablet, that might be easier, or I am currently filming with my Surface Pro, so I'm using the camera that I can actually see in, which is why you can probably see the reflection because it's me looking at me at the moment. So you need to pick a device that will work, and I interchange between these things depending on what it is I want to do. So the video I made last night was me using the phone on a stand filming the laptop. So this is the stand that I use. I got this for $10 on eBay, I think it was, and I like it because the legs all move around in different shapes, and I can wrap it around the kitchen chair if I want to, and the camera just slots in, and it's not it generally is a one size fits all depending on how big your camera is. So there's a little tab at the top here. I just pull it up and it clicks. That's my kids. Clicks into place that way, and then I can just press record and go from there, and it will flip around and face different ways and go on angles and everything too. And when you're ready to take it off, you just pull that up, and it's got the rubber and everything underneath so that it doesn't damage your camera. That was one of the best buys I had off eBay. It was really good. Okay, so multiple devices. So the thing is, now when you've got those, obviously you want to think of angles and how you're going to reach things. So if you haven't seen my handwriting videos also on Clever Pickles, I'm using the Surface Pro set up on a box, and I have a slanted, what are they called? Lap tables, you know, the stable table kind of thing that I got from Costco. It was really good. That is on an angle. So the book that I'm writing on is on an angle, and then my Surface Pro is sitting just below it looking down onto it. So you'll need to make sure those angles are okay so that the kids can actually see all of those resources properly. Now, if you're filming yourself, you're going to want to think of angles as well, because quite frankly, this angle is not so attractive and points out all sorts of flaws that you're probably going to be self-conscious about as you're filming, especially if it's going up your nose. So what I tend to do is put it on top of something, a box. I get it up a bit higher so that it's a little bit more flattering, and then I try and make it flat at the back, and you only need something sturdy to lean it against. So the Surface Pro has a flap at the back, so if I change the angle, that's the flap going down, and you can see my roof and it going up there. So if I get a couple of boxes, fill it with some heavy things. This has currently just got some old Warhammer figurines in there. I push the flap in and I can put this behind it, and it's holding it up nice and flat for me, and if I put it on some books, it's up a bit higher. So that makes it a bit easier for you to be able to get, you know, a good angle that way. Now obviously you can tell though the lighting is different when I do that, because, so at the moment I've currently got a lamp on the other side of me, because if I turn the lamp off, we'll just have a look. Have a look at that. I get this glare coming in from the back door, which is not great. Goes through my hair, and it kind of distracts from the fact that they're meant to be, paying attention to me and not what's going on behind me. Now, that was just a cheap Kmart lamp. My hubby bought me a ring light at Christmas, which was great, and I love using it, but I've been using that lamp for about 2 years prior to that. So, that works a treat. The only thing is you can see it in my glasses. So if you wear glasses, you might get some reflections. Usually that just means, put it up a bit higher or at a different angle so that it doesn't go in your glasses. If you've got that special reflective coating, it may get rid of that lighting issue as well. Now inside, it's obviously harder to get lighting like that. And I usually just put on the overhead light, put on the lamp, and open up the windows, open up the blinds. Natural light is better. Natural light is much, much better, and not right next to you. So the light over there that I've got in the kitchen, the blinds are open just to let in that natural light. That's heaps better. If you've got a situation like this with the back door, close the back door to stop the light coming in, because that will just create that glare and it's a bit distracting. And if you're holding up things, the kids might not see it properly. You could just go outside. So let's try outside and see what happens there. So I've moved out the back now where I've got beautiful natural light coming in. I do have a bit of a glare behind me. It's a bit of an overcast day today, but that's not too bad out there. If I was holding up things, the kids would be able to see it. I've vacated inside of the house, so if my kids suddenly come running out screaming, "Mom!" I've gotten rid of that issue as well. The difficulty when you come outside is going to be external noises. So I'm not paying attention to it, but there's a good chance that there's a cockatoo going off in the background. You likely might hear my dog that's running around here. Peanut, come here, come here, come here, come here, come here. Here's Peanut. Oh, which is a lovely addition to have to the video, but can you hear her? You got straight onto the microphone. I mean, if you've got a pet that sits still nicely and is nice and quiet, it would probably be a lovely addition to the video, but you could see she doesn't like to sit still or be quiet. And makes lovely noises. Social distancing. Okay. And then you end up with fur all over you as well. But if you can control the sound in your backyard, that's fine. Which brings us to our next one, sound. So I have this amazing microphone again that hubby got for me. Prior to this though, I was not using anything other than the microphone in the device, and it worked okay. I did get really good feedback though that this was better, but this is not the focus when it comes to teaching our kids. We just need to be teaching in well enough and speaking clear enough that they can hear us. So I'm going to unplug it and I'm going to move away as if I was in a classroom talking at a board. Okay, mic's out. So I'm going to move away, and as a teacher, I'm naturally going to use my booming teacher voice. So I mean, if I talk like this, you could probably hear me on the board writing things down if I needed to show you something. But some of us are a little bit nervous and there's family inside the house, and I don't want to wake up the toddler that's sleeping or something like that. I've got a dog barking in the background. Not always easy to control that. It makes it a bit harder. Okay, I'm going to put the mic back in now. So depending on your device, you may have great sound. That may not be a factor. You might decide you want to go out and spend money on one of these. You can get some cheap ones. Please don't go out and spend like $300 on a microphone unless it's actually going to be something you will genuinely use for a good amount of time. Okay, my next one, I'm going to continue out here and see how we go with the sound. Next point is obviously location. So whether you're deciding to film at school, at home, even within that space, what is it going to be? So if you don't want any kind of identifying features, don't want the washing in the background or your family photos in the background, something like that, you're going to want a blank wall pretty much to work with. So I mean, I have a brick wall over here that I could have as my background if I want to. Inside the house, there are some walls that don't have pictures on them, like behind my lounge. I could be sitting on my lounge and have that behind me and have it that way. In your classroom as well, be mindful that if you're sharing your video out on a public platform, And you do need to consider things like Google Classroom, OneNote, all of those things. A public platform in this case. It's not open to the public, but those kids could screenshot or take photos of anything that's on there. So be mindful of what's behind you and that it's not breaching any kind of, code of conduct or privacy for, kids that may not have permission to publish. So, blank wall, your word wall, that kind of thing as well. Remembering as well too that we don't want to clutter what's going on the screen. We want them to pay attention to the lesson. So if the back of the wall is all the beautiful artworks that you did last term, that could be a bit distracting to the kids and they may not actually pay attention to what you're saying. They've got the video to replay as much as they want, but just being mindful of that in terms of the location. The next point that I've got is your personal presentation. This is obviously new for all of us to be doing it this way, especially if you're working from home. But keep in mind that we're still employed, we're still getting paid, we're still delivering a quality, as much as we can, a quality education to our kids, and your presentation is going to be important. So whether you maintain the rules around clothing, that sort of a thing, so nothing revealing, nothing with inappropriate slogans. I've currently got my Super Mario Brothers shirt on at the moment. Kids would probably like that. And maintaining that presentation that you are the teacher and you are delivering a lesson. You may have a fun PJ day where you say it's fun PJ day the same way we would at school if we had a fun PJ day, but being in your PJs every single day may not be the particular kind of presentation we want to give with our kids to make sure we're maintaining that student-teacher relationship and what quality professionals that we are. Again, up to you. Your school may decide to have a different process, but that's personally what I will be doing when I make videos. Now, filming resources. This is my last point for this video. When you're including resources in your lessons like dice, cards, game, and everything like that, double check that your camera is not using a flip function. So for example, when I hold this up, when I look at it at the moment, it's backwards to me, but I know that when I view the video, it's going to be the right way around. When I do live streams, for whatever reason, it is flipped and it's backwards. So I can't hold up resources during a live stream with you guys because it goes backwards. And I really don't have time or the care to try and figure out why. It probably wants me to turn the device around and use the other camera on the other side, which I would prefer not to do. I would like to see what is going on. If I've suddenly got something dribbling out of my nose, I'd like to be able to take care of that. That's just my personal preference. Moving on. So when you're doing that, make sure that the camera is not flipping around and changing what you're doing. Making sure that it's close enough to actually see. If you're writing something on a bit of paper, to you as you're filming it, it might seem really clear and easy to read, but when the kids watch it for the very first time and have no expectation of what's coming their way, it might be too small, or it might be unclear, or it might even be a little bit blurry if you've had to zoom into it. So make sure all of those things. Do tests. Do a couple of tests. It will take a long time to do those sorts of things for the first few times that you make videos, but then you'll get used to it. You'll know which spot in the house or the backyard has the best light, the best sound, or in the classroom, what has the best light, the best sound, what's in the background to make sure it's safe to use. If you're literally using your whiteboard behind you at school, your interactive whiteboard, there might be a big glare that comes up and you need to take away some lights for them to be able to see it. If the focus is the board and not you, and the board is too bright and you are coming out clear, then you might need to readjust it so you look dark but the board looks quite clear. And that's fine, because if the board is the main thing, that's fine. This isn't cinema, it's not the Oscars. We don't need to have it that sharp and amazing. We just need to be able to get the message across to our kids. So that's a starting point for you in terms of making some videos for your kids. I hope those tips were helpful. I will put my subscription button down below, so if you haven't subscribed, you can click on that. I'll chuck another one of my videos at the top there, and wash your hands, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks, guys. Bye.